morning. Today I'm going to present something so nice. First of all, as you know, that this is my name and this is my college and my country. First of all, I have to play. So before starting my presentation, we all going to start watching a slide of video. Okay, please. Okay, so does anyone of you guess the subject that I'm on? Okay, does anyone of you guess the subject that I want to talk about? It is animation. That is a subject which is very interesting nowadays, but we have to know first what is the meaning of animation. Do you have any idea about animation? Animation, as you know, it is the dynamic, it is the dynamic medium that are used, to move or to change the pictures from the traditional way of presenting into something so updated, so modern. In this case, we have to know first what is the meaning of classical animation and the updated animation. First of all, that as you know, this way, it was the traditional way of how to present or how to show the images. This is the first way of a flip book that images are moving or are showing as series. Next, we have the zoetrope. It's also a kind of how to change pictures, how to make these series of pictures in a very rapid motion. Okay, this is the first step to present the animation. But later on, animation started to be appeared as on three-dimensional computer-generated imagery, and then two-dimensional. Now we have to start knowing why animation. First of all, that we have to know that the process of education nowadays, they tend to use animation in the way of teaching because this is a very interesting way. First of all, for adults, and of course that for children first, and then for adults. Both of them, they are interesting so much in knowing the subjects, in knowing, yeah. Which one? This one? Oh, but I have to look. Okay, so in this case, we have to know first that both of them, children and kids, of course, and adults as well, they are all interested in watching and knowing the moral lessons or maybe the values in animation. Here we have, if we look at this, in the process of educational teaching could be influential when the purpose of teaching is directed to examine the potential use. Students, in this case, they find themselves, they are motivated to use their mental skills, their way of thinking, how to develop themselves, how to get more information, how to go through the entertainment way, that entertaining way of to get lessons without using script, without using writing, let's say a writing book. So we have here The animated materials are received as being an effective means of teaching messages and lessons that static materials, of course, that when he passed by using the traditional way of using books or script into watching a video or watching a movie, it will be so interesting, okay, so influential than using the traditional way. Also, we have another very important thing is the silent animated movies. This is, this way can be used as very influential approach in how to stimulate students, their minds, let us say, their motivation, that how to interpret, how to explain the silent movies. Again, so we have the activities of analyzing, discussing, reacting, interpreting, encourage students self-creativity, self-efficiency, self-expression and self-assertion. They find a way, let us say, an opportunity how to express themselves freely without being instructed by their teachers or by anybody else. And of course that hence animation functions students multiple abilities to perform mental, psychological and social process. Here when I watch animated movies, in this case I will react and I behave in a way that it is very comfortable way, without using restrictions, without using any sort of limitations. We have to watch this, please. This is another example that I can guess from this video, the way of reacting. The message here, we have set of messages that I can send to my students. First of all, that what is the meaning of conjoined twins? Instead of telling them or reading the meaning of conjoined twins, a student can guess so easily that the meaning of this concept by watching, and of course that with the silent animation, silent reaction. So me, you, and others, okay, we react to this situation, and very interestingly that what is the meaning behind this video? What is the purposes behind this? So of course that we have some purposes, some important purposes. First of all, if you sympathize with such a situation like those two creatures, those two persons, they are conjoined twins, and of course that how to react with such a abnormal situation or case, let us say, for those two girls. This is one of the situations that I can present to my students, that please, you have to explain to me what is the meaning of conjoined twins. This is a first lesson that I can get. And second, that the reaction behind using silent animation, of course that it is combined by what? By the sound effect. Go next. So we have still with why animation. So animated educational material is more than a technique. It's supposed to, so it supports students with a sense of innovative. Here we have the cause of, psychologically, if we want to treat with this subject psychologically, so we have to deal with this cause and effect. Students always find a way to be stimulated, to be motivated by something very interesting to them. So in this case also they will react, okay, according to this cause. Next we have if you are young, if they are still kids, children or adults, so all of us actually, we find a way how to entertain ourselves first and how to get some messages, some lessons from using animation. And next we have themes of the animated educational materials are mostly inspiring to educate the viewers. So me, others, the viewers and the audience all can get the messages, okay, very clearly and very interestingly. We have still that viewers and students different levels can communicate with these virtual. So for example, if I want to teach my students some lessons, some moral lessons of, for example, that change should start from self first and then to change your community. Or we have that spiritual beauty is more beautiful, more important than the physical beauty, just like in Alice Walker's The Color Purple, and Toni Morrison in her novel that the Bluest Eye, when Bicole, the protagonist, she looks for a way how to make her physical beauty more distinguished than something else when she looks to change her eyes into blue. And then we have another thing, that listening before speaking. This is also another moral teaching procedure, that you have to listen before starting speaking, which means that this is also another way of educational system, that how to improve your students' mental way of thinking, their way of speaking and their way of thinking. So Disney there in America, they try to find so many ways how to entertain their students, how to improve them with moral lessons by using animated movies. For example, that Moana, if you heard of this animated movie before, when she starts as a kid and later on she is adult, Moana. Yeah. Well, and here, so now we have so many lessons actually by Moana. That small kid later on she became an adult, and she tried to present herself as a lady later on. Of course, that with stages of moral lessons in her life. Next we have still actually that during presenting the animated movies, we have so many thematic study of certain educational target. That's self-assertion, as I had said before, self-assertion, self-creativity and self-definition. So these targets, I mean thematic targets, are very important, how to improve your students and how to improve yourself before, and how to make your audience so interesting and so motivating and listening to you and watching the movie that you have created. Of course, that such targets give whatever the teacher like without the rigid way of instructing, as we have said before, that there is no need to instruct your student that please do that, please read this, you have to write down, you have to follow this one. So instead of this, you just present your animated movie, and they will get the lessons that you want as an instructor, as a teacher. They will get that lesson so refreshingly. And next, that we have morals of how to behave confidently and truly by spoken instructions will not be marred too much, because words mostly becomes extremely heavyweight. So to instruct more, which means that you are giving your students more heavy weight, okay? So in this case, we have certain things that this is for all actually. If we discuss the subject from educational, economic, and entertaining purposes, we have so many things we have to consider them. Number one, from art point of view, that the design of animation gathers the art of storytelling. So it gathers actually giving the animated movie for your student will do so many points. Number one, that the design that gathers the art of storytelling. Why? Because you know that it combines color, let us say color, characters, allegorical characters. We have a plot. We have curtains. Maybe we have a sound effect, music, and so many things that I can entertain myself and get lessons from these from art point of view. Two, we have culturally. You know that when I watch a slide or video about maybe Britain or about Russia or about Iraq or about Iran, so in this case I will get some information about the culture of that place by animated movie. In this case I will collect more information about the countries I may know nothing about them before. Next, we have also economically, so providing or presenting such animated movies, this will give an opportunity for the designers, okay, to employ certain figures, like for example the handlers of artists and animators and technicians. In this case I will provide so many opportunities for others. Next, we have educational. Of course, that is the most important thing, that to educate my students and to educate my community, I have to present them some very useful points to be considered. First of all, how to enhance the moral lessons, the values, the ethics in themselves and in my community, and let us say in my university, maybe how to make them behave in a very good way, or not, we can say perfectly, but we can say it is in a very good way at least. Next, we have, of course, that in teaching that animated educational subject follows the imagination. Here we have a mixture of imagination. I have to imagine things and I will react according to my imagination. This is especially, we can say, in silent animated movies we will watch later. The students also would believe that in animation people would be pulled to another sort of life. Of course, the students will find themselves, not only students, even us as adults, that we will find ourselves, we are pulled towards something is a very interesting life, a very interesting situation of allegorical characters, those characters which are, let us say, not real, imagined, and we are involved in them to discover life, to discover a new way of entertainment. So in this way, teachers and students will involve in what is called that mystery science. When I say mystery science, which means that it is a combination of two, the teacher, let us say, and the student, in which both of them participated in creating something new that involved in science, or that can be considered as a new way of science. We have, of course, that the building up and choosing the animated topics by a designer. Here we have some characteristics, some factors we have to depend on and how to create an animated movie. Number one, we have considered the length. Of course, that any motivated, any successful animated movie should not be so long. It should be with a very moderate length, okay, to be more interesting. Of course, that to be away from boring watching. Now we have to connect with emotional side. Of course, that when I present my animated movie about conjoined twins, in this case, I will get more, let us say, more reaction from my students or my viewers, let us say, about how to get their emotional side, how to let them participate emotionally with my movie. And next we have with the core message. Of course, that each animated movie has a core, has a core message. And in this case, I have to collect the most important of these messages. Humor, of course, that it should not be too sad, not be so comic. It will be moderate. And we have logical. It should be logical. That movie problem the same. And we have this situational solution. Of course, that each animated movie has a situational, let us say, a suitable situational topic. I have not enough time, Dr. Fuchs, right? So of course that with the silent animation, this is maybe one of the most important points that I have to refer to. Whenever I have silent animated movie, this means that I will stimulate my students to react in a very successful way. In this case, I will examine their way of thinking, their interpreting, their explanation, how to react, especially when it is combined by a sound effect. We have here, teachers should come to terms that doing or reacting this without words. When I act without words, this means that I put all my emotion or my feelings, in my hands. That please, you have to react with me, but silently. Maybe this is the most important and most difficult way. Please, this is a very important one that will sum up the whole situation of silent animated movie. I will watch from here. Those are allegorical characters, of course, that they are not animate, they are inanimate characters, and of course that it is silent. Here we have but a very important subject about sacrifice. So frankly, if I want to teach my students what is the meaning of sacrifice, in this case, I will present such a sort of movie just to tell that sacrifice means that to kill yourself to make other still living. So this is my way, okay, according to me, because I teach MA and PhD students. Next, we have, this is a conclusion, as I have said before, that to teach your students, to teach your community the best way to behave, the best way to react, you have to find another way of how to entertain them and how to give lessons to them morally and educationally, and maybe something related to social reaction. So I hope this will be very interesting, and I have to end up my presentation with this movie. Thank you for all. Thank you.
Thank you.